Good evening, stargazers. Welcome to our cozy story time. Tonight we have a special tale to share, perfect for drifting off into a dreamy sleep. It's called Goodnight Pirate Ship. So snuggle up, close your eyes, and let's journey together through this enchanting night sky. Are you ready? Let's begin. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the mighty pirate ship, the Silver Saber, gently bobbed in the calm waters of a secluded cove. Captain Barnacle Bart stood at the helm, his weathered hands resting on the smooth wooden wheel. He gazed out at the sea, a content smile playing on his lips beneath his salt and pepper beard. "All right, me hearties," he called out to his crew. "Time to batten down the hatches and prepare for a good night's rest. We've had quite the adventure today." The crew bustled about the deck, securing ropes and tidying up after a long day of sailing. Young Billy, the cabin boy, scurried up to the captain, his eyes wide with excitement. "Captain Bart," he said, tugging on the captain's coat, "could you tell us a bedtime story tonight?" "Please," Captain Bart chuckled, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Aye, lad, gather the crew round the main mast. We'll have ourselves a tale before we turn in." Word spread quickly, and soon the entire crew was seated in a circle on the main deck. The lantern swayed gently overhead, casting a warm glow on the eager faces of the pirates. Captain Bart took his place at the center, clearing his throat as he began his story. "Listen well, me buccos, for I'm about to tell you the tale of the ghost ship of Misty Cove." As the captain's voice rose and fell with the rhythm of the waves, the crew leaned in, captivated by the story. He spoke of a phantom vessel that appeared only on the foggiest of nights, its ghostly crew forever searching for a lost treasure. The younger pirates huddled closer together, while the seasoned sailors nodded knowingly, having heard whispers of such legends before. While the captain spun his yarn, the ship itself seemed to listen. The creaking of the timbers quieted, and the sails hung still in the night air. Even the sea appeared to calm, as if it too was enthralled by the tale. As Captain Bart's story came to an end, a hush fell over the crew. For a moment, they all sat in silence, lost in thought and wonder. Then, slowly, they began to stir, yawning and stretching as the spell of the story lifted. "All right, you scurvy dogs," the captain said with a warm smile. "Off to your hammocks. We've got a big day of sailing ahead of us tomorrow." The crew dispersed, heading below deck to their sleeping quarters. Young Billy lingered behind, his eyes still wide with wonder. "Captain," he whispered, "do you think we'll ever see the ghost ship?" Captain Bart ruffled the boy's hair affectionately. "Who knows, lad? The sea is full of mysteries. Now off to bed with ye." As Billy scampered away, Captain Bart turned his gaze to the starry sky above. The night was clear, the stars twinkling like scattered diamonds on a velvet cloth. He took a deep breath, savoring the salty air and the gentle rocking of the ship. One by one, the sounds of the day faded away. The usual creaks and groans of the ship seemed softer, more like lullabies than the workings of wood and rope. Captain Bart made his final rounds, checking that everything was secure for the night. As he walked the length of the ship, he bid goodnight to each part of his beloved vessel. "Good night, sturdy hull," he murmured, patting the smooth wood. "Thank you for keeping us safe and dry." He moved to the towering masts, craning his neck to look up at the furled sails. "Good night, mighty sails. Rest well, for tomorrow you'll catch the wind and carry us to new adventures." At the bow of the ship, he paused to admire the intricately carved figurehead, a majestic mermaid with flowing hair and a serene expression. "Good night, fair lady," he said with a slight bow. "Keep watch over us as we sleep." Captain Bart made his way to the ship's wheel, running his calloused hands over the smooth wood. "Good night, faithful helm. You've steered us true through calm and storm alike. He continued his journey around the ship, bidding goodnight to the cannons. Sleep tight, me iron friends. May your dreams be peaceful, though your purpose is not. The galley, good night galley. Thanks for keeping our bellies full and our spirits high. And even the brig, good night brig. Empty now, but always ready to hold any scallywag who dares cross us. As he completed his rounds, Captain Bart felt a deep sense of contentment wash over him. The Silver Saber wasn't just a ship. It was a home, a faithful companion on countless voyages. Each creak and groan was like a familiar voice, speaking to him in a language only a true sailor could understand. He made his way back to his cabin, pausing at the door to take one last look at the peaceful deck, bathed in moonlight. "Good night, Silver Saber," he whispered. "May ye rock gently in these calm waters and keep us safe till morning." Inside his cabin, Captain Bart settled into his bunk, the gentle swaying of the ship lulling him towards sleep. But just as he was about to drift off, a soft knock came at his door. "Come in," he called, sitting up. The door creaked open, and young Billy poked his head in, looking sheepish. "I'm sorry to bother you, Captain, but I can't sleep. I keep thinking about the ghost ship." Captain Bart's expression softened. He patted the edge of his bunk, inviting the boy to sit. "Ah, lad, the stories we tell can sometimes be a bit too exciting for bedtime, can't they? But remember, they're just stories. The real magic is right here on our own ship." Billy nodded, but still looked uncertain. "But what if we do see a ghost ship someday? What would we do?" The captain chuckled softly. "Well, me boy, if we ever come across a ghost ship, we'll treat it just like we would any other ship we meet at sea, with respect and caution. But I'll let you in on a little secret." He leaned in close, lowering his voice to a whisper. "I've sailed these waters for more years than I care to count, and I've never seen hide nor hair of a ghost ship. The sea has plenty of wonders without need for ghostly tales." Billy's shoulders relaxed a bit, and a small smile tugged at his lips. "Really, Captain? Really?" Captain Bart affirmed. "Now, how about I tell you a different kind of story? One about the real magic of the sea?" The boy nodded eagerly, settling in as the captain began to speak. "You see, Billy, the true magic of the sea isn't in ghost ships or cursed treasures. It's in the way the sun paints the water at dawn, turning the waves to liquid gold. It's in the song of the whales echoing through the depths. It's in the dance of the dolphins as they play in our wake." As Captain Bart spoke, his voice took on a rhythmic quality, almost like a lullaby. He told Billy about the quiet beauty of a calm night at sea. When the water is so still, it reflects the stars like a perfect mirror. He described the thrill of spotting a distant island on the horizon, knowing that new adventures await. He spoke of the camaraderie among the crew, how they become like family on long voyages. "And do ye know what the greatest magic of all is?" the captain asked. Billy shook his head, his eyelids growing heavy. "It's the ship herself," Captain Bart said softly. "This magnificent vessel that carries us safely across vast oceans. Every plank, every rope, every sail, they all work together in perfect harmony. The Silver Saber is more than just wood and canvas, lad. She's got a spirit all her own." As he spoke, the captain could see Billy's eyes starting to close. He continued his soothing narrative, his voice growing softer. "Even now, as we rest, the ship is watching over us. Listen closely, and ye can hear her lullaby." Captain Bart began to mimic the sounds of the ship, the gentle creaking of the timbers, the soft lapping of waves against the hull, the whisper of wind through the rigging. His deep voice blended with these sounds, creating a soothing melody. "The hull is singing ye to sleep, Billy. Can ye hear it? It's saying, 'Rest easy, young sailor. I'll keep ye safe and sound.'" Billy's eyes were fully closed now, his breathing deep and even. Captain Bart carefully lifted the boy and carried him back to his own hammock in the crew's quarters. As he tucked Billy in, he whispered, "Good night, little pirate. May your dreams be filled with grand adventures and calm seas." Returning to his own cabin, Captain Bart settled back into his bunk. The gentle rocking of the ship soon lulled him into a peaceful slumber where he dreamed of sunlit seas and distant shores waiting to be explored. As the night wore on, the Silver Saber continued its quiet vigil. The moon traced its path across the sky, casting shifting patterns of light on the deck. Fish swam lazily around the hull, their scales glinting in the moonlight. A pod of dolphins passed by, their playful clicks and whistles barely audible above the surface. In the crow's nest, the night watch kept his eyes on the horizon, alert for any signs of danger. But all was calm, the sea stretching out endlessly in every direction, a vast expanse of tranquility. Below deck, the crew slept soundly in their hammocks, lulled by the familiar sounds and motions of their floating home. Some snored softly, while others mumbled in their sleep, perhaps reliving the day's adventures, or dreaming of the ones to come. In the galley, the ship's cat prowled silently, keeping watch for any mice that might try to raid the food stores. Her eyes glowed in the dim light as she patrolled her domain, a silent guardian of the night. The ship's compass needle quivered slightly, always pointing true north, guiding the vessel even as it rested. Maps lay rolled up nearby, filled with markings of previous journeys and hints of future expeditions. As the first light of dawn began to tinge the eastern sky, the Silver Saber stirred gently, as if awakening from its own slumber. The timbers creaked a bit louder, the sails rustled in the freshening breeze, and the waves lapped with renewed energy against the hull. In his cabin, Captain Bart's eyes fluttered open. For a moment, he lay still, listening to the familiar sounds of his ship greeting the new day. Then, with a contented sigh, he swung his legs over the side of his bunk and stood, ready to guide his crew into another day of adventure on the high seas. As he stepped out onto the deck, the first rays of sunlight broke over the horizon, turning the sea into a dazzling display of gold and crimson. Captain Bart took a deep breath of the crisp morning air, feeling invigorated and alive. "Good morning, Silver Saber," he said warmly, patting the ship's railing. "Thank you for the peaceful night. Are you ready for another day of adventure?" As if in response, a gust of wind filled the sails, causing them to billow out with a satisfying snap. Captain Bart grinned, interpreting this as an enthusiastic yes from his faithful vessel. One by one, the crew began to emerge from below deck, yawning and stretching in the morning light. Young Billy was among the first, his eyes bright with excitement for the new day. "Good morning, Captain," he called out cheerfully. "Where are we off to today?" Captain Bart smiled at the boy's enthusiasm. "Well, lad, that's the beauty of being a pirate. The whole world is ours to explore. Who knows what adventures await us over the horizon?" As the crew bustled about, preparing for the day ahead, Captain Bart took his place at the helm. With a practiced hand, he spun the wheel, guiding the Silver Saber out of the cove and into the open sea. The sun climbed higher in the sky, its warmth chasing away the last remnants of the night's chill. Seabirds wheeled overhead, their cries mixing with the shouts of the crew and the flapping of the sails. Captain Bart felt a swell of pride as he watched his ship and crew working in perfect harmony. Another day of adventure was beginning, full of promise and possibility. But he knew that when night fell again, the Silver Saber would once more become their peaceful haven, rocking them gently to sleep under the starry sky. For now, though, the day was young, the sea was calling, and new horizons beckoned. With a smile on his face and the wind in his beard, Captain Barnacle Bart steered the Silver Saber towards adventure, grateful for another day aboard his beloved pirate ship. And so, the cycle would continue. Days filled with excitement and discovery, followed by nights of peaceful rest and fantastical stories. For aboard the Silver Saber, every day was an adventure, and every night was a chance to dream of the wonders yet to come. As the ship sailed off into the brightening day, the echoes of the night's goodnight still lingered in the air, a reminder of the comfort and safety that awaited them when the sun once again dipped below the horizon. For on the Silver Saber, every good night was just the prelude to another good morning and another thrilling adventure on the high seas. The end.